Good morning, everybody. My name is Captain Stephen Junkin. I'm the Troop Commander for Troop H of the Pennsylvania State Police. With me this morning, representing the members of the I-81 Homicide Task Force, Supervisory Special Agent Stephen McQueen of the FBI Harrisburg Field Office, Franklin County District Attorney Matthew Fogle, Franklin County Coroner Jeffrey Connor, Station Commander Lieutenant Bob Johnson of the Chambersburg Station, Detective Sergeant Kurt Dominic of the Maryland State Police, Sergeant Carl Mahood of the West Virginia State Police, and Trooper Adam Reed of the Pennsylvania State Police. These are Department of the I-81. The I-81 Homicide Task Force is comprised of members of the Pennsylvania State Police, the Maryland State Police, the West Virginia State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Franklin County District Attorney's Office, and the Franklin County Coroner's Office. This morning we wish to provide you an update on the status of our investigation into the murder of Timothy Davison, who was run off the road and then shot to death on Interstate 81 in the early morning hours of January 4th, 2014. The cause of death was ruled to be multiple gunshot wounds, with the manner of death being homicide. As you're aware, and it has been reported in the media, approximately 7 hours prior to the murder of Timothy Davison, a similar incident involving a dark-colored pickup truck occurred in Carroll Township, York County, which is approximately 56 miles northeast of the site of the murder. Members of the task force immediately linked up with the Carroll Township Police Department to determine if the incidents were associated in any way. Witness accounts and physical evidence were examined and compared to either establish a link between the two incidents or exclude them from each other. Evidence from both scenes was submitted to Pennsylvania State Police Laboratory for analysis, and based on that analysis, we believe with a reasonable level of certainty that the two incidents are not related. Despite no link being established at this time, members of the Pennsylvania State Police will continue to work with the Carroll Township Police Department in every way to assist them in apprehending the person or persons responsible for their incident. Yesterday, the task force was contacted by the Kentucky State Police in regard to an incident they are investigating in which a police officer was ambushed as he removed debris from the roadway several months ago. At this point, there is nothing to suggest that their incident is linked in any way to the murder of Timothy Davison. If information develops that would establish a connection, we would surely contact Kentucky State Police and work with them in bringing both investigations to a conclusion. From the beginning of this investigation, we have realized the value of involving the public in aiding us to develop leads and locate the suspect involved in the murder of Mr. Davison. In an effort to get as much information out to the public as possible, some of the information from each of the two incidents may have become confused with each other, or may have unnecessarily limited or confused the public's understanding of what we are seeking in this case. As it pertains to the homicide investigation on Interstate 81 in Franklin County, we are asking the public to help us locate the driver of a Ford Ranger XLT pickup truck, driven likely by a male. We believe this pickup truck to have damage of some sort to the driver's side of the vehicle. We are issuing an advisory to all body shops and dealerships in the area to be on the lookout for a Ford Ranger with recent damage seeking repair. We also have reason to believe that this pickup and its driver was observed by several motorists on Interstate 81 between Interstate 70 in Maryland and Exit 10 in Pennsylvania in the early morning hours of January 4th, 2015. We're asking anyone who knows of such a pickup, who observed that pickup truck, or the incident involving Timothy Davison to please contact the I-81 Homicide Task Force at 1-800-4PA-TIPS. That's 1-800-472-8477. Those who wish to call and remain anonymous may do so. We strongly believe that someone in the tri-state area will be able to provide information that will link the suspect vehicle to the person responsible for this horrible and senseless crime. We also advise any motorist who finds themselves involved in a road rage incident or observes a road rage incident to immediately contact the local or state police agency by dialing 911. Do not engage the other driver and take steps to create distance between you and the aggressive driver. I will take a few questions. I am not going to comment, though, on the status of any evidence collected, what we've collected, or where we're at with any evidence. Sir.
Can you talk a little bit, you mentioned reports that he made a series of calls to 911, is that correct? The victim?
There were calls from the victim to 911 in Maryland and also here in Pennsylvania. And we are using those tapes as part of our investigation.
But you can't disclose anything about it?
We are not going to disclose anything on the tapes because there's some information there that we want to keep, sensitive information. We want to keep it close to us until time.
Mr. Davison do anything to provoke this attack?
There is absolutely nothing to indicate that Mr. Davison did anything in any way to provoke this. We believe that he was randomly selected and this actor had murder intent.
Do you have any indication he stopped in this area on his way?
If what?
He stopped in this area on his way up the interstate at a gas station?
Mr. Davison, you referred to. At this time, I can't speak to that.
What kind of weapon? Pistol, shotgun, rifle?
At this point, I'm not going to speak to that. We want to. There's certain things again that we have to keep.
You have a model year range on the Ranger XLT.
We don't have a year range that we're going to release, but it is. I mean, the model would be the XLT of the Ranger. So.
The year would be a late model.
Well, the Ford Ranger XLT, I think, ceased production in 2005, something there. So it would be something prior to 2005. So we were talking an older model type truck stuff.
Have we narrowed down if it's an out of state, or we have a license, anything that could
We do not have a license, and we are looking generally in the tri-state area, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania. We're being very cautious not to limit, what the information that we put out, because somebody could see one that they absolutely think, wow, that really fits. Oh, it's got a Virginia license plate. Route 81 is obviously a main thoroughfare. We have people from all over the country driving, but generally we are looking in this area.
That being said, have you guys reached out nationwide? This person could be anywhere. How extensively have you sent out?
Well, we've been obviously in contact with people throughout the region, and the media's done very well in getting out across the United States, and we are receiving phone calls from all over the place. The example of Kentucky reaching out to us, they read about this, heard about it, and contacted us. So certainly if somebody from outside the area has information they want to provide to us, we are going to take any lead that is provided, and we're going to take it to its conclusion, whether that is a rule out or whether that person is made a rule.
Captain, for how many miles would you say that this shooter targeted this situation? How far distance is about up? Or is this a spontaneous reaction?
Generally, we believe that this incident occurred, or we were made aware of it, between Interstate 70 in Maryland and obviously mile marker 3 where Mr. Davison was murdered. So that's generally a 13, 15 mile somewhere distance. At this point, we're still looking at how far prior to Route 70 or Interstate 70 they may have encountered each other.
What's the West Virginia?
It's just that it's very short. You go right from Pennsylvania to Maryland to West Virginia within a matter of minutes or miles, and so we certainly don't want to limit our scope.
Do you think that this guy, the shooter, was in all three states or right behind?
That I can't comment on that, and I'm not sure where we're at with it. Well, I know where we're at with that, but I'm not going to comment at this point what we think. We're getting tips from all three states, and we thought it absolutely necessary that we include members from all three. They do have assets, they have local knowledge, plus they may be getting tips and calls, and we want them to have the information that we have so they can act and work with us.
How difficult is this going to be for
We hope not very difficult at all. We hope that the person is sitting out there today that sees that Ford Ranger sitting across the street, or they know of it sitting down the road, or maybe somebody has abandoned the Ford Ranger, and somebody will drive by and we'll either get the vehicle, or we'll make the connection to that driver.
I believe it's silver. Is that do you know the color of the
It was put out earlier that it was a dark color. What we don't want to do, though, is again limit people. This happened at 2 o'clock in the morning. So what is red could look dark. What is yellow could look a different color. So we are looking generally for a darkish color, not a white car, and possibly blue. But again, we don't want to limit ourselves or limit the public. If you see a Ford Ranger, XLT with damage, and somebody maybe that drives it is not necessarily stable or has had problems, and they want to call that into us.
Are there any rewards?
Through PA Crime Stoppers, there are rewards available, and that is dependent upon their protocols.
You mentioned exit 10. Is that, do you believe that the suspect may have got knocked there, or is that, what does exit 10 have to do with your investigation?
It's just a range of the area at this time. You know, trying to not make it overly broad so that we don't unnecessarily panic or also create a flood of information.
How about highway cameras in all the states?
We have looked at the highway cameras in every state.
Do you believe that the truck went south down that after it broke the shooting scene?
We do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go with 3 more questions. What about you absolutely that there was no conviction for
Well, I can't comment directly. We did some laboratory analysis on evidence between the two. The Carroll Township incident, which they recovered obviously some evidence, and in ours. And in comparison of that and the witness statements, victim statements, we don't believe it.
Could you also say what led you to think that the shooting was related to the
Again, in speaking to the investigators down in Kentucky, comparing what they have, their profiles, and the way that crime occurred in connection with us, distance, and speaking with our investigators, again, at this time, there's nothing to indicate a link there. Not to say that there will someday down the road be one, but at this point, there's nothing that at first glance or even digging a little deeper that indicates to or in any way.
How concerned are you that this could happen again?
I'm not going to comment.
How concerned are you that this could happen again?
How concerned are we that it'll happen again? We obviously have an individual out there who was so incensed that he continued to pursue Mr. Davidson and took it to that next step. He murdered an individual for whatever slight that he perceived. Will this person do it again? We don't know. We don't want to take that chance. Law enforcement officials in all 3 states are taking steps to try and ensure that doesn't happen, and we are working tirelessly to make sure that we get this person and get him off the road quickly. I want to thank you very much.
Captain Junkin, one more question.